What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to have a special guest interview me about buying real estate in Italy. So stick around. All right, everybody. As I just said, I have a guest on the channel that is more or less like any of you that is an investor in the United States that had some questions about how to buy real estate in Italy. And so I actually asked her if we could record this conversation because most likely she's going to have a lot of frequently asked questions. And this will be an easy way for me to communicate to you the information that I often share with people on the phone almost on a daily basis these days. I'm going to welcome right now Elsa Chang to the channel. Elsa, say hi.
Hello, everyone. This is Elsa.
I'm a real estate investor who lives in San Francisco, California. I'm always looking for real estate deals, either in my home area, out of state, or sometimes even out of the country. So recently, since I have seen so many news media talking about the one-year homes in Italy, I took some time to research and see if I could score myself a one-year home to buy, as I love Italy. And of course, it doesn't hurt to have another home in my real estate portfolio, right? I stumbled upon a few videos done by David here, who has been investing in real estate in Italy and talking about these one-year homes. So today I want to pick his brain on buying homes in Italy so that he can tell us a bit about real estate in Italy in general. So David, what makes you think you qualify to be a real estate consultant in Italy?
First of all, I have Italian property. I invest myself, and I've been doing so since 2014. The house I lived in, I found it on my own. I don't typically use real estate agents just because the way that I invest happens to be through the real estate auctions. Now, it's not saying that I don't suggest you use real estate professionals, but I've kind of moved into this position as a consultant to the auctions because I've purchased multiple properties. I've also lost auctions as well, so I have a lot of experience participating in the auctions themselves. I've helped other friends and family purchase as well, and a number of other investors that have been interested just like you. So I feel like I have a knowledge that I can share with the public, and most of it is easily accessible if you speak Italian. That by itself is qualification enough that I can share some of the information that I know.
Awesome. So since you're an expert, tell me how's buying real estate different in Italy?
Like on the surface level, the real estate market is in general the same. The houses are for sale and the sellers are motivated at times and not motivated at others. There are real estate agents that organize the deals, but there are differences in how real estate agencies function, what it takes to be a real estate agent and within the MLS. But probably one of the biggest differences is that in the United States, for example, there are title companies that take care of that transaction and make sure it's all official, right? Well, here they don't have title companies. The job description of a notary, like we have notary publics in the US at every bank almost, and often they're free. But here in Italy, a notary is a designated position that is responsible for the transfer of properties and various other legal documents.
Interesting. So it's like finding a real estate lawyers to handle the transactions instead of escrow or other agencies to do that.
Yeah, pretty much. The processes are slightly different, and you just need to end up, in reality, find who you can trust in the system that knows it well. And so finding the right kind of professionals varies slightly from the US specifically to Italy.
So as real estate investors, we're always looking for the best deals possible. So how do you find those deals in Italy?
How do I find deals? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. No, I'm kidding. But I guess I have my strategies. What I do is work with the auction properties. Now, not everybody's a fan of auctions because Well, obviously, there's bankruptcy issues where people lose a house, and it's a sad deal. I have specific ethical policies where I only buy things that are vacant already, or I have the opportunity to help somebody. So that opens doors for me inside the auction market. I also compare with the rest of the market using websites like immobiliare.it, casa.it, and idealista.it, which are more or less multiple listing services.
So what are the challenges in navigating all this different process in Italy to buy real estate?
So what are the challenges in the processes? Depending, if you're working with auctions, the challenge is that you're buying an as-is property and you don't have any room for negotiation. You take it as it is and you make it into what you desire, right? The rest of the challenges, there are a number. I mean, as an American investor, your first challenge is the language. So learn to trust somebody inside this that has knowledge about this system. As far as the process goes, the real estate agent, there's a difference here in Italy that is probably one of the greater things, is that in the US we have like a buyer's agent that helps you and kind of is on your side. And then you have a seller's agent that's on their side, and there's a negotiation. That does occur to a certain degree here as well. But at the same time, there are differences. And the seller, there will be times, for example, if you go to a real estate agent, he will first of all show you his listings, of course, right? And this is pretty standard across the board. He earns more money if he sells it without an extra real estate agent in there. And you can't always be sure that he's going to be there negotiating for you as well, because he has a contract with that seller. And so as far as other processes go, you have like the notary has to occur in a certain period. Like you have a day in which you sign off. You have to get the notary taken care of at that point, as well as you need to make sure that the property is in a good condition. Because if you buy that property, sign it in front of the notary, and find out that there are abusive acts that were done, like maybe they changed the location of a wall or a door and didn't tell you about it, and you didn't know, and the community will then hold you responsible for it. And so you need to inspect it and get those inspections compared to what the community has already, because every single property has like a floor plan registered to the community, unless it's really, really old.
Wow, so you're able to go look at the property first before bidding on it?
Yeah, so in auctions, you can. They actually have set it up so a custodian will take you through the property, and sometimes it's a little difficult to schedule an appointment, which goes along with the difficulties of the process. You just have to get on the list, and maybe you will have only about 2 weeks to really make that final decision, depending on when you find that publication. Because at times, like I work with vacant property, there are properties that have people that live in them to that moment, and those situations, the custodian has to have some delicacy on how they manage the actual tour.
Right, eviction is it's an issue with auction properties, or in any properties basically. So are the auctions mostly online or in person?
Well, they actually have both. I have only participated on the ones where I go in person. Online auctions, we're actually fairly new here. Italy's technology is usually a little bit behind. It's just a natural tendency. As soon as someone creates something, it gets adapted a few years later. In Idaho, we always joked around about that the music that was popular in 2010 is now popular in Idaho. And so because it arrives later. So being from Idaho, I totally understand.
U.S. investors just have different expectations in terms of using the same technologies, same real estate technologies in Italy, right?
It's getting better, for sure. It's getting better. But the online, so I haven't personally chosen to participate in online auctions. It might actually make my life easier. And for you as an American investor, you might actually easily access an online auction, but you're missing out on the touring step, and you would have to hire someone to go tour it for you anyway. So I personally, being here, prefer to tour it myself and actually participate in the courtroom and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I have done both, but it's pretty exciting. So, since you have done so many deals, like, would you mind to show us some examples?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I can pull up some examples here on the computer really quick. I actually just did a YouTube video about my home. It was the first one. It's kind of like the thing that got the ball rolling, and you can check that out on my channel. If you check in the description or even in the corner of this video, you can see there is like a card or an info box. It just has a link that take you straight there. And I advise you to watch it after. You need to finish this video first, right? But let's pull up the computer as well, and I'll show you a quick example of some properties that I've helped with. The first property that I'd like to show you is an example. It's just an independent property, an independent home that's actually pretty near my home. And my friend tried to pick it up at about 18,000 euros on auction. They didn't end up winning this auction, though they did participate. And it had an interesting feature that it had entries on both sides of the property, so we could have like split it into two apartments, one upstairs and one downstairs. So for 18,000 euros, it was actually a really good deal. Now, someone else did come in and swoop in and pay a little bit extra for it, like 40,000 euros. And funny enough, they didn't actually pay for it, so it went through the auction process again at 18,000 euros. So I'm not sure who owns it now, but what they picked up was this property. And I don't have a good shot of the outside, but this is the kitchen as they bought it for. They also got this one for 18,000 euro. The difference between this one and this one is that the first one is only like 120 square meter, maybe. This one is 300 square meters, or more than 3,000 square feet. So here's just another shot. They have already started renovations, and I've talked to my friend, and he said that he'd be willing to share the process, or at least the finished product, here on this channel. So that's something that we can look forward to. This is an image of the property that I just recently shared before one of our first investments that my family is staying in right now. That this is what the kitchen looked like before, and we picked up this property. It was on auction for 24,000 as the initial bid, but it ended up paying like 33,000. So this is what it looked like before, and then here is like halfway through the remodel. You can see the backsplash already installed, and the leveling of the walls and the ceiling hadn't been fully accomplished yet. Following that property, we saw this property. This was a big villa. This was one that I was interested in personally, in creating a bed and breakfast, because it was huge. It was like 4,000 square feet, and that was not including the 3-car garage. And so it had a big terrain on the backside next to a river, and I thought it would be a great opportunity. The location was a little bit disadvantageous. Instead, we actually tried to participate in this auction, and this is actually a really small house, but it was like an independent style villa, and the price difference was kind of astounding. This one right here was like 105,000 euro based on its size, and we decided not to go for this one just because of its location. This one's price was down in the 20,000 euro. You can see when I first looked at it, there were trees all around it, and since then someone picked it up and kind of cut down the overgrowth, and they haven't finished the remodel as far as I know. But this is the property we purchased instead, and you can see it way back in the back, and here we have a photo of it. It's not the yellow one, but the kind of pink beige color one that has some water damage in the right hand corner. And this one we picked up for about 19,000 as well. Now, I haven't shared information on this one. This one will be coming up in the future. You can find some information on my Facebook page, though. This one was the property that we picked up after that, where we split it. We had the entire top floor, and we split it into two. Examples of properties that we've participated in or helped other people purchase. And there are others. These were just quick photos that I could come up with in order to present them to you right now.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for showing us the examples, David. Another question I have is, as a foreigner, if I want to buy a property in Italy, do I need to have the Italian citizenship or residency before I can do that?
It's actually a question I do get a lot. Normally, there's like a trade agreement in there. I have a website that I'll put in the description that'll describe the trade agreements, and you can find your country on the list. It'll basically tell you if you can buy real estate or not. Check the description for that link. It should be pretty straightforward. The one thing is that people have often asked me, especially with €1 homes, people think that I'll buy a house for €1 and Italy will let me live in Italy. And there is not a single community that I know of that just says, hey, you buy this €1 house and you can live in Italy. Like, they're not connected at all. If you buy one, they assume you're going to just come on vacation periodically, unless you take care of whatever you need to take care of to reside here. Some communities, €1 communities, will only sell it if you reside there too. So I'm working with a guy that just got rewarded a €1 home that is trying to currently work on his visa, because now they basically reward it to him only if he can come and have residency there. And so if he can't gain residency, then there's a chance that he's not going to get the property, and it'll go on to the next person in line.
Oh, interesting. So that was my next question. It's like, how can I guess buying a home in Italy doesn't really help me to get a residency in Italy. Would there be any other alternative before buying a home?
There are many alternatives. Like, you could have passive income and use the elective residency visa. You could come over and get married to somebody like I did. I doubt that that's going to happen. You could become a student, that kind of thing. But you can only work for about 20 hours a week. Anyway, aside from coming here and actually working for an Italian company and them asking for you to move over, the only really option that remains is if you have like 250,000 euros that you just want to invest in some Italian innovative startup. And that pretty much buys your way into Italy these days. It's kind of like in that golden visa category. There's like 250,000 euro,
right.
500 million, 2 million, depending on how rich you are. If you have a great innovative idea, maybe that's a good way to get over here. So,
yeah, interesting. Like, that's a pretty popular approach for countries to attract entrepreneurs who have brilliant ideas and develop the ideas in their country.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the €1 home program. So is it really worth it, consider remodeling costs to those abandoned homes?
Let's see. Is it worth it? That's a strong question. It's worth it to some people. I would say that the people that have a dream they want to fulfill in life or want to tell a story, maybe they just have a lot of money and don't know what to do with it. And they're just like, I'm going to renovate a property in Italy, right? Those people would be most adept at buying a property, renovating it. Somebody who is, and I think I get the sense from you that you're kind of numbers focused. Somebody like you would do better potentially outside the €1 home market, because these €1 homes are usually in an area that is not too full of tourism. The property itself is not habitable right now, and to get it habitable, it would cost you, even for a 50 square meter, 500 square foot property, it will cost you like 30 to 35,000 euros just to get it usable. And so there are much cheaper properties that are already habitable, maybe not the best condition, and they need to be looked at by an inspector, but definitely a potential better option to get the ball rolling. Interesting.
So, Euro home or not, if I were to buy one, how do you find how to locate contractors? And if you don't live there, how do you manage it?
Fortunately, I do live here, so I never had to hire someone to do it for me. And also, my personal investments were always small enough remodels that I was able to do a lot of it myself. Okay, so but not everybody's that do-it-yourselfer type of person. So to find contractors, in the US, we usually rely on some technology, maybe the phone book and some advertising and things like that. Here, it's a bit more word of mouth. like start with the community, the comune, the town hall that you are purchasing in, and talk to them and see if they have any advice. Go and actually see a property that they've worked on and see if you like the quality. Do a lot of comparison shopping here so that you can get like the best price, and that's pretty standard across the board. The one thing you won't have at your back is a lot of technology to support you in that decision. There are property managers that you can hire. There's a lot in Italian. There will be less that speak English. And there's even a smaller percentage of those that actually are already helping mostly people from the UK, but there are also American investors that use these property managers. First, you need to decide where you're investing and find a property manager that is managing that area.
Interesting. So I have seen most of your videos like touring different towns for those 1 euro homes. Which one is your favorite? Which towns do you find most interesting?
Well, that's a good question. I started in Sicily looking at the first 1 euro homes, and I like Sicily, but it was my first time there and I didn't get to experience the beaches, and I don't have a personal draw that just drags me there. So I never bought there. And since I already own real estate here, I haven't bought anything because I was truly trying to narrow it down. At this point, Borgomezzavalle, which is in north, like Piedmont, kind of near Switzerland, is my favorite, I have to say, because it has like this kind of iconic stone construction, and it reminds me a little bit of home. Not that the stone construction, but more about like the mountains. And whereas I live in just a little bit south of Milan, it takes me about an hour and a half to get to that area. And so I could go up on the weekend pretty easily and just experience a little bit of tranquil lifestyle and maybe explore the mountains or find some hill to sled down in the winter. I don't know. Sounds fun to me.
Sounds interesting. So since you mentioned sometimes like the 1 euro homes are not worth buying because there are a lot of other homes that are habitable and cost less to fix up. So have you looked at other properties in the area besides the 1 euro homes?
In Borgomezzavalle specifically, I did not get to tour inside anything. I did, and you can see on my channel also the video of both me and another one of my wife kind of walking through the streets and experiencing like just what it is to not to live there, but to be there. And I had talked to the technical guy at the town hall, the comune, and he suggested I come back in the summer or even the spring, but then obviously we had our lockdown, and so time went by, and I haven't made it back up there yet. But I hope to organize a time when I can go up. Right now I'm kind of split between going north and south, and I'm just trying to organize some trips here where we're still experiencing the after effects of our lockdown period.
I think the lockdown is going to be over soon, and Italy has been making progress on that. What are the possibility of Airbnb those homes in these areas?
It's a good question. Well, I think it depends on the marketing strategy someone is going to choose. First of all, if somebody is just going to say Airbnb, I trust you to take care of all my troubles, and a tourist will come to you and click my house and I will price it accordingly. In the 1 euro home communities, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because it's already not touristy, and even like the secondary, the upper class properties, it's the same thing. If you don't have a lot of draw, then Airbnb by itself is not going to make money for you. But some people like the idea, and especially this comes more about from the UK investors, that they like to buy a property and then kind of advertise it themselves, saying, I have a location in Italy where you can literally go and just escape from in paradise. And they market it themselves, and that type of bed and breakfast can also be put on Airbnb, but it's more of a hands-on marketing approach.
Right. So if I were to buy a home in Italy, whether a 1 euro home or not, how do I start?
I'll give you first a few examples. First thing, you make sure you can buy real estate due to your country rules. In the US, you can. Secondly, the very first thing is, and you can find this information anywhere on YouTube, is to register with the Codice Fiscale, whether it's here in person at the tax agency or at an Italian consulate. Other steps, they really depends on whether you're working with the auctions or working with a real estate agency. Contracts are pretty similar, though they vary. You'll see less option contracts. Anyway, I will be giving more information like this. I actually have a course that's coming out on how to buy real estate on auction that will list all of the steps necessary to buy real estate that way. And if anyone's interested, just go ahead and click the link in the description and I'll put you on a waiting list for when it's fully released. Any other questions?
For all of us who want some help buying a home in Italy, how can we get more information?
If you're looking for more information and you're waiting for that course to come out, or you're just not quite sure if you're ready to buy, I actually have a Facebook group that I've started. Right now it's just more or less accumulating people, but we have more than 100 people in there already. And I've been sharing like video examples of me helping people search, and so you can get some good insight on how to search for auctions that way. And from that point, you can just pay attention, ask questions, and look at some of the files that I've added to it, because I actually add information not just about the auctions, but also the 1 euro homes. So if that interests you as well, I try to keep people updated on kind of both sides of the story.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for giving us such valuable information about buying properties in Italy.
Yeah, well, thank you for being on the channel. And for anybody who's out there watching, say thank you in the comments to Elsa for being on video. It's not always easy to be on video. She did a great job. And I mean, maybe she's already used to it. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you, Elsa. And anybody who hasn't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. And we're going to have a lot of more, content's coming out regularly. And I hope to get to a point where it's coming out even more often every single week. So we talk about Italian real estate. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out on the About page, or especially down here in the comments. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.